My friend Takeshi worked security at an abandoned psychiatric hospital in Nagano Prefecture. The Yamakawa mental health facility had been closed for 15 years, but the city still required a night watch. Takeshi needed the money, so he took the job. His first week passed without incident. Empty hallways, peeling paint, the usual decay. Then came the night he heard footsteps above him. Soft, deliberate, moving down the third-floor corridor. His flashlight beam trembled as he climbed the stairs. Room 314, the door was slightly open. Inside, a figure in white moved between the empty bed. A woman. Her hair covered her face. She appeared to be adjusting pillows that weren't there. Takeshi cleared his throat, turned. Her face was kind even. "The patients need their rest," he whispered. "Ma'am, this facility has been closed for 15 years. She smiled. "I know." She gestured to the empty room. "They're still here. They always need their medicine at midnight." Takeshi's watch read 11:58 p.m. The nurse reached into her pocket and pulled out a syringe filled with dark liquid. "Would you like to help me with rounds tonight?" Takeshi ran. Behind him, he heard her calling softly. Room 315 next, then 316. He quit the next morning, but sometimes he still wakes at midnight, wondering if she's still making her round, caring for patients who never left. Urban explorer Yuki specialized in abandoned medical facilities. The Sakura Psychiatric Institute had been her goal for months. Closed in 2003 after allegations of mistreatment. The records were sealed, the building forgotten. Yuki entered through a broken window on the ground floor. Her camera captured everything: wheelchairs, gurneys, restraint. In the administrative wing, she found the file room, thousands of patient records scattered across the floor. She began photographing them for her blog. Then she noticed something strange. Patient 247 died in 1987, but there were treatment notes dated 2019. Patient 156 died in 1993. Notes from 2020, 2021 last month. The handwriting was fresh, the ink still wet. Patient shows improved behavior after midnight treatment. Responds well to experimental therapy in basement level. Yuki's hands shook as she read more files. Every patient officially deceased decades ago. But the notes continued, hundreds of them. Then she found her own file. Patient 892, Yuki Tanaka. Subject entered facility at 2:17 a.m. Shows promise for integration into permanent program. The page was signed, dated today. Behind her, footsteps echoed in the hallway. A voice called out softly, "Patient 892, time for your evaluation." Yuki never posted those photos. Her Urbex forum shows her last login that night. Some say she's still there, another file in the endless collection. Dr. Watanabe worked at Shinsei Psychiatric Hospital for 37 years. Even after it closed, couldn't let go. This story comes from his neighbor, Mrs. Kimura. She noticed his strange routine starting the week after the hospital shut down. Every morning at 6 a.m., he left in his white coat. Every evening at 8 p.m., he returned home. "Where do you go, Watanabe-san?" she asked one day. "To work. My patients need me." Mrs. Kimura followed him out of concern. He walked straight to the abandoned hospital, through the chained gate, into the empty building. She peered through a window. Dr. Watanabe moved from room to room, speaking to empty beds, checking invisible chart. "Good morning, Sato-san. How are you feeling today?" He nodded, as if receiving an answer. "I see. Let's adjust your medication." He mimed writing prescriptions, administering treatment. For 12 hours he performed his duty. Mrs. Kimura returned the next day. This time, she heard voices responding. Whispered conversations, grateful murmurs. "Thank you, doctor. The pain is gone now." She saw shadows moving in the empty room. Figures sitting up in beds that had been removed years ago. Dr. Watanabe smiled, talking to each one. "I told you I wouldn't abandon you." Mrs. Kimura ran home and never spoke of what she saw. Dr. Watanabe died peacefully 3 months later. But every morning at 6 a.m., neighbors report seeing a figure in white walking through the hospital gate, still making his rounds for patients who never left. Paranormal investigator Hiroshi received a tip about Mizuho Psychiatric. Local teenagers claimed to hear groups singing at midnight. The hospital had been abandoned since 1998. Hiroshi brought his recording equipment and entered alone. The main corridor stretched into darkness. Patient rooms lined both sides, doors hanging open. At 11:45 p.m., he reached the group therapy room. Chairs arranged in a perfect circle. Then, exactly at midnight, voices began to sing, a children's song, soft and haunting. Teru Teru Bozu hanging from a tree. Multiple voices singing in harmony. Hiroshi's equipment detected the sound, recorded only silence. Then a new voice joined the circle. Welcome to group therapy. Please take a seat. The singing stopped. One empty chair directly across from where he stood. The air grew thick, oppressive. We've been waiting for you, Hiroshi-san. They knew his name. Everyone here has issues to work through. We help each other, we never leave. Shadows began filling the other chair. Patients in hospital gowns, faces obscured. Please sit, the session has begun. Hiroshi felt his legs moving against his will. Step by step toward the empty chair. He fought against it, couldn't stop. Then sunrise broke through the window. The voices faded, the shadows vanished. Hiroshi ran and never returned. But sometimes on quiet night, he still hears them singing and wonders what would have happened if he had stayed the full session. This final story was told to me by a demolition worker named Kenji. His crew was hired to tear down Riverside Psychiatric Hospital. The building had been empty for 20 years. On the final day, they discovered a sealed basement level, not mentioned in any of the architectural plans. Kenji descended alone with his flash. The basement contained treatment room, electroshock therapy equipment, isolation chambers. Everything looked recently used. No dust, no decay, as if frozen in time. In the final room, he found a patient, an elderly man strapped to a treatment table. His eyes were open, staring at the ceiling. Excuse me, sir, are you all right? The man's head turned slowly. Treatment not finished yet. His voice was hollow, distant. Sir, this hospital closed decades ago. Doctor says I'm making progress. Behind Kenji, footsteps approach. A figure in a lab coat, face obscured by shadows. You shouldn't be here. The doctor's voice was cold. My patient requires continued care. More patients appeared on nearby tables, all staring at Kenji with desperate eyes. Help us, they whispered in unison. We want to leave, but he won't let us. The doctor raised a syringe filled with dark liquid. Perhaps you'd like to join our program. Kenji ran up the stairs into daylight. He told his crew, but they found nothing. The basement was completely empty. They demolished the hospital the next day, but Kenji still wondered, where did those patients go? Are they free now or still receiving treatment in some other forgotten place?